This is That One Audition with Alyshia Ochse. I'm really excited because this is the first time in a while that I've had somebody that's been like a crossover star. So then when you start doing auditions with Backstage West, is there some success in that? Like, when do you decide, like, actually, I'm going to go back to Mexico?
Yeah, I'm like,
Because for all the
yes,
listeners, like everybody in Mexico, like, you're a
yes.
mega star in Mexico. You rise to the ranks so quickly. I
Oh,
feel like, well, again, I'm looking at IMDb and I always love to reverse engineer where it felt like you worked for a few years in Mexico and then starting in 2014, it was like award, award, award. Like you would just, anything that you touched seemed to have gold around it.
oh, thank you.
So,
That's sweet. Thank you. I mean, yeah.
no, it's
It-
true. It's there's proof in the gold. Like, so I just was curious, how long did it take in New York before you were like, you know what, let me go back? Or was there a project that brought you back? Like, what brought you back home?
Actually, thank you for saying that. I mean, I think every career is I think every career, every path in different ways, depending on where you're coming from and your personal path. Like it's fascinating to see how every actor, like every other profession, but the actor's way is so particular, personal, and intimate. There's no formula. You got to be doing a constant reading of what life gives you for you to follow. It's like the path is being constructed as you tread on it. It really is. And yeah, you kind of like take opportunities and then let others go and you keep walking and there is an element of life helps you. You know what I mean? Like if you
Yes.
are in it and you put your heart to it and you go out there with nothing but your desire to do the best that you can, not even thinking about money yet. That's what I mean, when I started, I was not even thinking about money, about career, nothing. It was just like, I love doing this. I feel I can do it. My soul recognized this craft and said, I can live here. You know what I mean? Like I had been preparing it, but when I hit acting, I was like, I can, yeah, it's like a home.
Mhm.
It's like getting to a place where you're like, I'm going to stay here. And
Yes.
I left New York basically because I had no money and ate bagels basically all the time. And it was good for some time because I was young, but at some point, I guess I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna go back to my country and like just eat some aguacates and tortillas.
Yes.
I missed being connected to my culture and being allowed to wander and see where life took me. In New York, I was a bit pressured, like, what am I doing here? And of course, you're living. You
Hmm.
you need life to feed your soul because your soul is going to be the fountain where you draw from to build your characters. And
That
so
part.
you need to be exposed to life, exposed to experiences, good and bad. And I think New York is the place where that is like
It
the
gives you a lot to
best.
pull from for
Yes.
sure
Oh
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
then
It
when
gives
you
you
went, it
a
gives you,
vibrant. Yeah.
yeah, some of your characters, I'm sure you could pull from that time in your life.
Yes.
But when you got back to Mexico, once you started kind of wandering, how does one go about getting an agent? How did you find your representation? How did you find opportunities like Backstage West to start auditioning?
And in Mexico, in reality, my agent came much later. As I told you, I came to Mexico. I did a play. That's why I came to Mexico City. Somebody invited me. The play lasted a long time. And after that, I went to university to do something completely different, to do literature. And I had forgotten about my acting. I was like, okay, that's in the, yeah. And then I started acting again towards the end for some reason. A little thread came on and it
Started pulling
kind of
at you.
pulled me back into the scene. And the beginning, I was not even thinking about career, about jobs, just anybody who would invite me to do a play. I was like super grateful and I got into it. Of course, I didn't have a lot of money, because they didn't pay a lot. My parents, I had the fortune that they could help me a little bit in that stage, which lasted like a couple of years. But afterwards, I just started getting jobs, not very high paying, but
Mm-hmm.
and you start kind of advancing little by little, but I still didn't think about career, job, age, nothing. It didn't even enter my mind. I guess I was like just riding the opportunities that came by.
Just enjoying yourself, which I think that's the one thing that when I'm talking to other actors, it's like you get to a certain place when you're trying to make it a career where you're results oriented, you're trying to choke, you're trying to give them what they want. You put so much pressure and demand on this, you forget to have fun, or that
Yeah,
this is actually something that I want to do, even for fun and for free, that I would like just do that way. And then it's really interesting when it's a pivotal point where you decide, oh, this is, I can do this as a living. And
yeah,
that's where I'm really curious in
yeah,
Mexico, especially since you started with projects and being on stage and just getting to
yeah,
play. At
yeah.
what point were you like, or what project
Mhm.
shifted the perspective of, "Oh, I'm doing this for fun," to, I can really
Uh-huh.
do this?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was a musical theater play. I had never done musical theater, and I got into this musical. I did. That was the one audition I think that changed it all.
That's what I want to hear. Give me the
Yeah,
one,
that
especially
was
because I
the
was like,
one
I
I
want the
did.
one from Mexico that you're like,
Yes.
what? Yes. What is it?
It was, I was doing a play and everybody kept talking in the background and in the while we were getting ready backstage about this audition that everybody was going to, about this play that was going to have music from the 80s. And, in Mexico and Latin America, they had great artists in the 80s, like, these great lyrics and so much passion and, love. You know how the 80s are, like
The
super
80s it's
theatrical
the
and
best
marvelous. Yes,
music. Yes.
yes. So everybody was talking about it, but it was something weird. Nobody really, they were like, it's a little musical. And I went just because they were talking about it. I was like, so it's interesting how sometimes you got to go, even if you don't think you're perfect, or if it comes within your range of knowledge, you should check it out because there's maybe something in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if even if you just hear it by somebody talks about an audition about a, and it comes to you, because you never know why, how information is coming to you. Maybe it's not through an agent, through your manager. Maybe it's because somebody speaks about something, or something. I was like, okay, I'll go and check it out. I'll do an audition. What? And I did the audition. And mira, thankfully, and this has something to do sometimes with who's on the other side doing the audition. I sang a song that was too high in my register, and I had to stop it because I couldn't get it up. But the director who was on the other side didn't care, which was, he was like, okay, yeah, stop singing that, sing this other song. And he was interested in something else that he saw, the attitude or the theatrical of how what I was putting into the character. He saw me there. He saw through like the technical
Mhm.
problems in the moment, of nerves or whatever. And I was just really grateful for him because he could have said like, thank you, next.
Uh-huh. Yeah, totally. He
Because
could.
that happens more and more. And sometimes,
Yeah, but when you take control over a room where you're like, I'm gonna start again.
yeah,
And we're like
exactly.
we're not, we're flawed human beings. We make mistakes, but if you're a professional that can handle like, oh, I know that this isn't going the direction I want it to
Exactly.
go.
I love that. I love that because
I'm gonna,
that's totally it. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna start again, sorry. And that creates a naturality. And like
Mhm.
you say, we're flawed human beings and a confidence of like, hey, it's okay. It's practicing. And then you give it your all, whatever it is. And if
Yeah.
you're lucky enough to have someone see through the
Well,
technical perfection, yeah.
I love this story so much because I think the majority of my jobs that I used to get where I go in the room was when I would make a mistake. When I'm working with an actor and right as they're losing their line, what do we all do? Oh, God. Something interesting is getting ready to happen. And it's how they handle that moment. If they're like, oh, I need to go back, or I'm gonna reverse for a second, or give me a second, or if they just stay in it, I swear
Yes.
it's the mistakes that get us the job.
Yeah, that's really interesting because one would think no, but since this acting, what we do is so in the spectrum of our humanity,
Yeah.
and what comes out from us without us having to control it 100%. It's like everything comes out in the moment. And if someone out there is watching this and receiving this and sees like, okay, that was brave, that was intelligent, because that's part of the audition too, as you say. How do we handle that? How do
Uh-huh.
the space, the pauses, if you're working with someone else, that connection. And you
It
have to,
gives us something. When our brains are
yeah,
focused on something else or we've made the
yeah.
mistake, there's so much that comes through. So wait, so he gave you another piece to sing? You sang it
Yeah.
and was he like,
And I sang it, and then he was like, "Okay, yeah, I love it." And I got that audition. They called me and they were like, "So you got the part." It was kind of easy, and I couldn't believe it because I didn't sing really. Like it was like,
yeah.
okay, but that character, apparently a lot of actors had done audition for that character, and some even had gotten it, but they discarded. They didn't think the character was enough. They were like, because it was like a smaller, not a smaller part, but the profile maybe of the character wasn't so, I don't know, maybe it was undermined in the first, the director had been doing a casting process for 2 years.
Oh my
And
gosh.
had offered it to two actresses who got it and afterwards left it for other projects. So when it got to me, I was like, and I got the part for another character, but the director called me. He's like, I want my other friend who's great and she did the audition and I want her to be the other character. Do you want to do this one? And I was like, sure. Okay, whatever. And that character was a gem that wasn't discovered. You know what I mean? Like I started reading through and I was like, this is a great character. But it's like undiscovered. Like, of course, the writer and the director had discovered. He wrote this great character, but once we started putting it on its feet and we got it, and on opening night, the reaction was like crazy with this character. So I think this character was before and after in my career.
Well,
It's like,
is this the one where you did 1,000+ shows of this?
yes, I was 3 years doing runs. Yeah,
So
yes.
is this when you get your agent and manager? Is this when your Mexican team?
Not yet. I
Still not
left
yet.
that, not yet. I was like still writing whatever comes. And a friend of mine who became a friend of mine, but he wasn't at the moment, a filmmaker, he saw me in the play and he called me to be in his movie. So you never know who's going to see you
That
in a
part.
play.
Yep. I always love connecting
Never.
the dots because the work gets the work. So,
Yes.
okay, then you go and do
Then
his
I
film.
go into this movie and then another movie. I mean, I started doing like these random movies with these small characters. And I think I got my manager after I did a big show. In fact, I got, I
So
did,
all of this work you were getting on your own or by word of
yeah,
mouth, or people,
yeah,
producers just calling from other
yeah,
projects. That's why I always say the work begets the work. When people are like, I have to get my agent and manager before I can get any opportunity. I want to ask a tough question if you would be willing to answer this. Once you do get your team in Mexico,
yes.
manager, agent, how
Uh-huh.
many projects are they actually bringing to you versus how many phone calls are they fielding? Because you've got
Yeah.
all of this networking, all of these relationships built from
Yes,
years of
exactly.
doing it on
Yeah.
your own. Do you
I
remember
guess,
that first couple years of working with them?
yeah, I guess at first it was like that because I was doing a really big show called Club de Cuervos, which lasted
Mhm.
4 years. And I came into my, agency and became when I was ending those 4 years. So I had all the baggage, as you say, and all the like for Netflix. And, I had all these, the fans were crazy out of the show. And so I got into the agency having all that. And
Yeah.
so everything that came for some time, I guess, was pulled on from having been this character, Isabel Iglesias. So that kind of led to a lot of the opportunities that came immediately after. And afterwards, they started, I guess it's a middle point. They started working with their strengths as an agency, with what they had, and with what people were calling to work with you. Someone is like, we're interested in Mariana Treviño because we saw her in Cuervos. Okay, so we're the managers. I think
Yep.
it's like a middle
Yes.
point.
Well, which is a
With
good
that.
time to start
Yeah.
developing having teammates so they can field the calls. How did you get
Yes.
the show? The show that went for 4 years, that was also on your doing, but was that from one of
Yes.
the films that you've done? How did the Netflix
Oh,
show?
So that happened because my friend that I work with in the show, who's my brother in the show, Luis Gerardo Mendez, he had worked with me previously in a little short film, but he had seen me in the play. He was in opening night
That
in
play.
the play.
Hmm.
And because he did a lot of musical theater, and I had seen him in musical theater. And I remember him being in the audience. And when we went to the lobby after that opening night, which was a great, nobody expected that reaction from everybody was singing this, everybody went crazy because the songs were so personal. Everybody was singing along. It was like everybody were like, what just happened? And when we went to the lobby, I remember seeing him amongst the crowd. And I was like, Luis, and he came and he hugged me and he was like, you were so good. Oh my God, this is character. And we had a moment there where we shared. I had just seen him in Avenue Q. He had just been
Yes.
in one of production. So we had a little moment there. We didn't know each other that much, but there was a familiarity. So we had that moment. And from there, he remembered, and because he was in Cuervos first, he was when Gary Alasraqui, who's the director and the writer of Cuervos, was developing the show with Netflix. So Luis Gerardo called me one day and he was like, okay, Mariana, something's happening. We're getting together this show. We don't know if it's going to happen, but maybe we want you in the show, but you have to go audition. So I did an audition for that. It wasn't like just come in the door. I did go and audition. So he said, go and audition, but I want to tell you that I hope it's you because I really like want to work with you. And I went to audition. I did my scenes. I prepared. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm just gonna. And I think I got it. And I think it helps that he was rooting for me from
Absolutely.
side. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love when we get to hear from somebody who has laid the groundwork themselves. I can't tell you how many times I get emailed or I have consultations with actors where they're just so dependent on somebody doing the work for them. We pay them 10%. In Mexico,
Yeah.
is it also the commission
It's
10%?
20.
It's
It's 20.
20%. So you're paying
20%.
20%. So that means 80% of the work is still on you. And look at your
Yes.
80%. You were doing 100% of the work for how many years before
Yeah.
somebody was
Yeah.
saddled up and was like, let me help you. Okay, so
Yeah.
then I have to jump to specific projects that I absolutely love, if that's okay. A Man Called Otto.
Oh
Mark
my God.
Forrester is all over the internet talking about your audition, about
Oh
how when
God, I
he
haven't
said
seen those. I have to see them.
they're everywhere. And when I was doing the research, I was like, what the hell did she do in her tape? Because they obviously, were you still in Mexico at the time?
Actually, at the time I was in Spain doing a show for my friend Manolo. He invited me. We were in COVID. And I didn't want to go to Spain because I was really scared of COVID, but I was like, I need the job. So he was like, come on, come to Spain. So I went to Spain. I did this show with my friend, but I was in the apartment, just in
In your
it,
bubble.
like in the bubble, not going out much. And I got this audition from my managers. I hadn't gotten an audition for a long time. Like there had been like a little bit of a silence. I was doing other
Because
things.
the world was shut down. You were actually
Exactly, basically, exactly.
yeah.
And I really they sent me to auditions and I kind of like I prepared for them I read them, but the other one, the text was so emotional. The
Yeah.
text that they sent me, the monologue was so filled with what we actors love. Like in the page there was emotion. You're like, this is rich.
Which scene from the movie
It
did
was the
he have you
scene.
audition?
It
Yeah.
was the monologue. It was a monologue where she opens the door to Otto. Otto wants to use the phone. And she, for the first time, puts him in his place. And she's like, you know what? I was out there. You didn't open the door. I thought something had happened to you, blah, blah, blah. And she goes off. And I just thought I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, it's a perfect thing for an actor. It's like a perfect little
Mhm.
walkthrough of emotion, of building
Yeah.
emotion. And it was that scene, and it was another scene where it's more like comedic.
Mhm.
And I did them in the apartment in Spain, and I did that part in selfie mode.
That's what I went to ask because he talked
Yes.
specifically about how you shot it. So
It
you
was
did it full and that monologue you did straight to camera, straight into your.
yes, yes, I did. I did it like this. I think I did. I hope I'm not
Mhm.
inventing. I think I did it holding it or okay, I don't remember. I don't want to
He
make up.
talked about you holding a phone
Oh yeah, then I was
in a
holding.
hotel room.
Yes,
And then in the
yeah,
second scene, did you do Tom Hanks's
that one.
part too,
Yes,
as
yes,
well as yours? So
yes.
explain to me how you did that.
It hasn't worked after that. Let me tell you. Like after that, I continued doing that for auditions. They were like, no, you need someone to help you read through your lines. And I was like, okay. But it helped me with Otto. Of course, I had no one. We were shut out. So for that second scene, I did put the phone and I used some props. I used some props like the pans and I don't know, something. I was, and I guess what I did was I just did my lines. I don't remember. I think I did my lines and just imagining what he was just reading, what he was answering. I think it was just my answers. I think.
Ah, okay, that
Remember.
makes sense. Because
Yeah.
I think sometimes if somebody's recording their lines and then or the other person's lines and then listening to them, it can be distracting. And also there's not
Yes.
pacing. If you didn't have anybody to work with, if you're just allowing
That
space, what a great actor you are. Because he said he
was
saw
so.
hundreds of tapes. And he said once he landed on yours,
Oh my God.
nobody else. And
Oh,
I thought that was so riveting that here you are in a hotel room,
yeah. In
oh, and
Spain.
in Spain, and that your work, how you came across in that screen, he didn't even want to continue to look at
Oh
anybody
my
else.
God. What a gift. I mean, also Mark's sensibility. Also, he's really a very exceptionally sensible director. Like he's one of the most sensible directors I've worked with in the sense that he's got such a, he's so delicate in his perceptions and so such an artist. He really
Mhm.
is. And so just that, like that one audition that I did for the play where the director was like, I don't care you didn't hit the note. I see the character through what you're doing in your movements. I guess he saw through the maybe technical shortcomings that I had in the moment that I was delivering something that emotionally he was needing for the character, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I was lucky that he was on the other receiving side of the phone, and that not always happens.
That's well, but also you're the prayer answered. He's got a problem. And I think actors all the time try to be like, well, what do they want? Well, they want you to fix their problem. They need to find the person that makes this
Yeah.
come to life. What I thought was really interesting, and I would love to hear your experience working with Tom, is that Mark Forster was like, when I saw the audition tape,
I love him.
he was like, I knew it was her. These two characters need to mirror each other. And I think it's so interesting that you took a second to like read his lines, read what Tom's lines would be. And it's almost like we could, if you're thinking it, seeing it, reading
Yes.
it, we as the audience can see it,
Yes,
feel it.
yes,
So I thought that
totally.
was so,
Yeah.
and that's why it worked for this story, right? These two characters
Yes.
have to mirror each other's experiences.
Yes.
So now in mirroring each other's experiences, like, look, Tom Hanks is my
Oh
one
my
and
God.
only.
Oh my God.
I've part of the reason why I wanted to be an actor. He is it. And people are like,
Yes.
what's your North Star? Tom was it. As
Yes, yes, yes.
I have to know how it was working with him. What tools did you pick up? Like you've been working for a long time, but Tom's been working for a very, very
Oh
long
my
time.
God. He's our mentor of all of us. He's like our
Yes.
reference. Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell me the working environment and what you picked up to take to the next project and the next project and the next
Yeah.
character.
And then, I mean, we'll reconnect to Stick, but Owen for me was also a reference. I mean, I
That's
had
what I'm
two
gonna be.
references in my life, like Tom and then Owen, for some reason, every time I saw him was like, he's just so mesmerizing. And everybody just adores him because there's something inside his soul that just makes him so relatable and so adorable that
Yes.
we're just glued to whatever he does. And Tom is similar. So not similar. He's like that. They're in different age range, but they're both the same kind of actor, you know? It was very interesting to find the connections. And yeah, I mean, Tom, like what you said, I mean, he was a reference for me. His movies just like changed opened, my consciousness when I was young. I mean,
Yeah. So
and
now here you are working with him. How many
and
pinch
I
me
could not
moments?
believe it. Oh my God. No, I screamed when my managers told me I was in the project and that I already knew that he was attached. Because at the beginning we didn't know. We just kept
Oh, you didn't even
auditioning.
know it was. That's kind of great too. There's
Yeah,
no. That's kind of
there's no
great.
pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
no
love
pressure.
that.
We didn't know. And at the end is like Tom Hanks is young. Wait. What? Excuse
Uh,
what? Yeah, yeah, no, no. So that was like a really big moment of joy for me, of
yes.
joy and celebration for me, and just gratitude, because the profession will give you these surprises,
Mhm.
different forms for everybody. But after some time that you've been working and doing your best, I think the profession kind of sends you these gifts,
Yes.
like,
Little Hail Mary passes, like you're
yeah.
on the right road, keep going. So,
And here's a gift for you, enjoy
yes.
it. It's like, yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, okay, so what's one tangible thing from a process standpoint or a working standpoint with Tom that you walked away and you're like, okay, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. Well, it was just such an intimate, it was very lucky because we needed, as you say, to mirror each other, these two characters,
Mhm.
and there needed to be an intimacy that was constructed between the characters.
Yes.
The story led to that, to a bond that is beyond whatever you can understand, be constructed and established between the two characters. So I was really nervous of being able to establish this with him. I was like, I hope I'm just going to put my best and just be open and see what. And thankfully, that happened because he's such a wonderfully open actor and so experienced and so humble, and that I could easily like connect to what the characters needed, the level of closeness that the characters needed to be in. So I take away that from working with Tom amongst many other things, but also this to be able to build this connection, you need to approach, like if you have
That was going to be my
actor like
question. So,
Tom, like,
how did you approach him on first day of shooting to create
oh,
intimacy? Like, I will go first day of shooting, whoever I'm playing opposite with. I immediately I just start asking questions, maybe sometimes too personal of questions because I'm trying to
yeah,
build a foundation and a thread. With somebody like
yeah,
Tom, is that something that was, how did you approach that? Because I think that's valuable for actors. It's all of a sudden they get on set
yes,
and they're like, I'm working with Jennifer Lopez.
yes,
How do
yes.
I bridge the gap? So
Mhm.
if you have an insight on that, that would
I
be.
guess it's different with every actor because each
Mhm.
one have their own codes and you have to be able to read them.
Yes.
Each one has their own spaces, their own codes. You gotta be like sensible to say, can I approach or can I? This is not a good moment to approach because
Hmm.
we all have our processes and how we work, and you have to be mindful that we got to respect each other in that sense. So, if the opportunity before starting a project to kind of bond a little bit with the actor is presented, you take it, and it always helps,
Yeah.
to have a little tete-a-tete before with the actor. In the case of Tom, we did have, like, I remember getting to Pittsburgh and Rita calling me to my hotel room. And I was like, Rita Wilson is calling me. Oh my God, I love Rita too. And I love the couple that they are since always,
Yeah.
So when she called me and she was so, she's got such a great personality, so open and so like joyous. And she was like, Mariana, we're here. She gave me a date for dinner. We were all gonna see each other for dinner. So that was like the icebreaker. We had that opportunity.
That's beautiful. Hmm.
Yeah. And that dinner was really important because I got to talk with Tom. Like we sat and we were all talking, but at some point in the night, we were all just sitting like Tom, me, Mark, like we huddled in this, in the table. And we just
Uh-huh.
started talking. We just started talking about life and this and that. And this kind of intimate, kind of cantina talk, when you're just like talking about other things. It was not the project. It was like this and that in life. And I think that kind of broke the ice.
Yeah.
It bonded us prior to doing the show. And that was really special because we were so relatable. We felt this. And with Tom, I thought it wasn't going to be like that, but it was. It was like a very easily, we got easily into a conversation. So that was great. And on set, I didn't talk too much with Tom. That not so much because as I don't know
Yeah,
what
you're at work,
was.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
work, and I didn't. Only if he would tell me something or start a conversation, I would continue it.
Well, and let's also say Otto is a grumpy old man. So, on set, having the distance probably
Yes,
works
help.
for both of your characters as well. Like, I always kind of
Yeah,
look at the story and see how do I need to conduct myself to kind of create that energy even on set.
exactly. Yeah.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes.
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
Okay, so I have to ask, after that, is this when you get global representation? Is that where somebody, and when A Man Called Otto comes out, are more people like, hey,
Hi. Well,
hi,
well, I
hello?
got I got the agency, my agent after that project. But
That's right.
before it was my managers that I had been with for many years. My managers in the US, I had been with them for many years, but we just kind of sometimes connected with an audition. It wasn't ongoing or anything. It was like, oh, Mariana, by the way, we have an audition, and they would send it my way, and I'm like, okay. But
Great.
I hadn't opened my mind to that kind of crossover. So it
Mhm.
kind of happened suddenly with Otto. I wasn't expecting it. And after Otto, I consciously, talking about careers, did a move to find an agency because they told me you have to have an agent in the States and you have to have manager agents. So I consciously did that. And that's where I'm at right now. And I'm consciously
Yes.
navigating that other way of working.
Well, and working now in two different countries or like kind of
Yes.
globally. Now we're global. Like even nothing really shoots in the States as
No.
much anymore either. Okay, so let's talk about Stick. Here comes Stick down the
Oh my
pipeline. And if you're
God.
two benchmark people, are they genuinely it's Tom Hanks and Owen Wilson? Because that's kind of amazing to get them sandwiched into your
Oh
like
my
two
God. Yeah. I'm like, I can
projects that are
definitely.
and
Yeah.
was
No.
Owen was already attached, I'm assuming, when you got the audition for Stick.
Yes, he was, but not immediately when I read the first audition. It was like in the second, third part of the audition where I think I knew
Uh-huh.
now. Yeah.
Okay, now I want to hear this whole process because
Oh
was
my
this was the initial call also a self-tape?
No, that tape, somebody from my agency in Mexico helped me. My managers and my managers in the US also have an office here and they helped me tape it. So it wasn't self-tape anymore. There was
Yeah.
someone putting a little bit of a better light and doing the thing. And I did two auditions that day. And the other audition was very like, it was very emotional. It was, and then this one, I loved the scenes, and inside I was rooting for this one, but I was like, I probably won't get it. I mean, it seems like so professionally written, and the other one is more like telenovela. Maybe I'll get that one more, and this, inside I was like, probably I won't get this one, but I'll do it. We did it second. We did the other one, and we did this whole thing, and then this one, we recorded it, and I was like, okay. And then something inside me was like, no, record it again. It's not perfect.
Ah, Can I ask? Because I always tell actors, especially when we're self-taping, you can pop back and watch it, right? You can look at
Yes.
it and be like,
Yes.
something's off. And then you can that's the
Put it
beauty
again.
of self-tape,
Yes.
especially if you've been working for long enough that you can have a good critical eye and not
Yeah.
imploding eye. Because I wanted to ask you about process. So when you watched it, what was the thing that you were like, I don't, is
So we did it once, and I was like, okay, perfect. And I was like, okay, let me check it. And I saw it, and I didn't think the rhythm was a little bit off. The rhythm of, and I was like, no, 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 the rhythm is better on the page. I'm not getting it across. So I was like, can we record it again? And so she was like, sure. And I recorded it this time, and it felt better. And so when I saw it again, I was like, okay, yeah, it was better. One is never too sure. One is like,
especially when it's a pilot or like a straight to series order, you don't get a tonal read on it other than here. And if you're not working with the casting director, also they're still discovering it when it's a new show, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
They
You
know
don't
it when they
get to
see
know so
it.
much.
But I
So,
love that your ear's so attuned to the musicality of a scene. If you're willing to share your process, because you've been working for so long, specifically on this, because like you said, there's musicality to it.
Yeah.
It's comedy. It has to like, what are some of the things other than reading the script, other than reading stick, that that you do to kind of help you find the rhythm of the character, the rhythm of the scene?
The rhythm. First, you study the following the natural rhythm that the writer put on the page. Sometimes if you can discover that, that helps you. But of course, then there's the director. When you actually shoot it, there's the rhythm that the director wants. There's other actors, all the other elements that come and make it alive. So in reality, once you do it, you can see it as something, but it changes in the moment. It changes because it gets its natural rhythm of like all the elements together. I guess when you're auditioning, the best you can do is try to, by your intuition, try to find the best rhythm that suits your delivery in that moment. Maybe it's not what the directors will think or the creators will think, and it's always you never know for sure. But I guess just if it's comedy, trying for it to have some kind of upbeaty kind of thing, not too much and make it slapsticky, but something that is depends. No, I turn back. Depends. Some other comedy scenes, when you read them, you're like, okay, this type of comedy is not so upbeaty. It's more Spanish, and it's in another tone, So I guess you got to do your best with that reading in the moment of like,
that's why I asked when Owen was attached, because Owen has a certain cadence. So if Owen's attached, you can kind of play with the rhythms of how he speaks and what his comedy normally is. So you do this first audition, you retape it, you send it off.
Yes.
Then
and we get a call back. They're like, they want to see you again. And you go, oh, okay, yes, I love that text. And we do another call back. I think we did 2 more with other scenes. With an
was it
additional
over Zoom or was it
Zoom. Now with the people from the project. So now it's with Zoom, and we did another one, I think. It was like 2 in Zoom with different scenes.
Okay. Some people do not love Zoom auditions. What's your take on Zoom auditions?
It was nervous wrecking because it's like, hi, and then it's more difficult to control anything there, but because somebody's reading from you, from the team, and you're trying to put your rhythm, but you just go for it. I don't know. I guess it helps to really know the text.
Yes.
That you're doing the scene with, and to kind of, for any unexpected things that might happen along the way, because it's like live, auditioning live. It's not, you're not sending an audition or something. It's like right there. And well, I mean, I just did it, and then I got called back to revise one of the scenes with another tone, I think. They wanted to change the tone.
And what did they give you the note tonally? What was the change? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I guess they wanted to see if I could follow more the text that was written.
Okay.
Because I had put some little things here and there, and they were like, can you just read it as it is? And I was like, okay, this is important to see if you can follow instructions, right? To see if you're gonna like do the text that was written and follow the director's instructions. And I guess, yeah, they gave me more instructions and I was following them and doing it, what they were telling me. Yeah.
So at any point, did you have to do a Zoom chemistry with Owen?
No, the last part of the audition was when they called me and they said, okay, we want to see you in LA to do a chemistry read with Peter.
With Peter, yes, you with your son.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they flew me and I was really like, oh man, I hope so. And they flew me to LA and I had a chemistry audition reading with Peter. So that was the first time I met him. We saw each other like, hola, there were other people before me. You know how auditions are. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh my God. I mean, I'm like,
You're back to sitting in the waiting room, with names, I'm sure, people that you recognize.
And well, not many. I guess they spaced them out. So it wasn't the typical audition where you're like with 5 people and, as you say, like intimidating, like big names. No, I think they were very good at spacing the auditions out and they gave each actress their time. But of course, somebody was ending when I came in and somebody was going to come in so there was a consciousness that you're in the mix, but it's not total.
It's not full. Okay. So if you have any tips then for chemistry, inter-family chemistry, right? So it's different than beloved chemistry or rom-com chemistry. So what is something, especially with beautiful younger people that are doing this? Sometimes it's such a gift. I think there's nothing more fun than getting to work with a kid or a teenager on set because more so a kid, because they throw things at you that you weren't expecting, right? So it keeps you so present.
Yes.
But like you were saying, what was your weigh in with him?
So I guess we just were really nice to each other when we said hi. The welcoming he gave me was very like, hey, hola, hola, me too. So we were like, hey, we're both Latin. So that was helpful. Like there was a recognition there. And of course, the characters have this within the story. So that was an important like place to arrive to in the audition, like a kind of cultural bonding.
Yes.
A cultural thing, like hola, oye, hola, talking here and back and forth. And yeah, I guess let me remember. I guess we just really he was really nice because I guess he did his best with each actress because I don't think it was only with me. And he was really he didn't just read it and was like, I'm in. I'll just read it with you. No. Like I was lucky that this kid was really getting into the scenes. So he was a very good partner for audition because I've gotten to other auditions when they just read it flatly. That happens too. And you're the one who has to kind of like do the whole maneuvering. But in this case with Peter, he was also looking for his mom. So he was like getting the heart out there and I guess we just connected. It was a nice, Latin instant thing.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see it. I'm so excited. The trailer looks amazing, everything. And I think it just dropped, right? So
it just dropped. It just dropped on Apple TV. Yeah.
Yes. So, okay, now you're getting to work with Owen.
Oh my God, yeah.
To work with Peter. I would love to know, you already said some great things about Owen, but what's like the working thing again from an actor's perspective that you get to walk away from? Because now you're doing a series. Where'd you guys shoot? You guys shot all over the
We
States.
shot in Vancouver. Actually, we weren't back all the way.
Canada.
Yeah.
Yes. What was your working experience that again will elevate the next project you go to? Because I think every time we get on a project, we work with somebody and you're like, oh, that's interesting. I could do that. Oh, great. I'm going to do that the next time I work. Like we're always going up the staircase is what I say.
Yes, I think so. I definitely think so. Well, just as we said with Tom, I mean, I couldn't believe that I was going to work with Owen, loving him, loved him we all do. He's like Tom. He's like Tom. He's like our mentor he's given us so much like light with his work and joy. And these kind of actors like Owen and Tom are like refuge. I don't know if that's a word in English, un refugio, a refuge a refuge. They become like refuge for us as spectators, where we just go and breathe. And they give us something where just we're like feeling happy or feeling touched or feeling motivated inside somehow. So I think they're very much in the same line of the type of actors that they are. I think that Owen is a magnificent actor, like round actor. We know him from his comedies, but he works from such a deep emotional inner world that his moments of emotional vulnerability and drama are so touching,
Yes.
so magnificent. I really loved experiencing that part of Owen firsthand, his whole thing. And yeah, I mean, we just learn so much. You learn so much from an actor like that. Just being exposed to how he works, watching him, how he's so responsible. He was also a producer in the series, so he was also like with the producer eye jumping back and forth. But he's always like, he doesn't miss any detail. He's so concentrated. He's always taking everything in. I think he's like a genius, honestly. And I don't say this lightly. I think he's like got one of those genius minds that he can do so many things at once and being on the money and concentrating and delivering from this ease.
Exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth. It takes a lot of preparation. I think a lot of people think, oh, he's just being Owen. I think it
Oh,
takes a lot of preparation to get to that
yeah.
level of ease and
Yes.
wit. And
Yes.
like it's wonderful. Do you play golf after playing in this world?
Oh my God, I don't yet, but I will pick it up now because I was like fascinated, just like three months of being involved in this whole
Uh-huh.
world, like just to think of what golf that makes you do inside.
Meditative. Uh-huh.
Very
Yes.
contemplative. It's very like self-challenging sport, and I'm gonna follow up, hopefully.
Okay, so here's my question if you're able to walk us through it. Other than reading the script, when you get an audition, what are some of the things that you do script analysis wise or character building wise that help you start to craft what your version's gonna be that you throw out?
I'm sorry, can you repeat script
Yeah.
wise? What?
So other than reading the script, so when you get
Oh,
an
okay.
audition or you get, even if you're going to set, yes, you read the script, but what are some tangible things that you do for your script analysis or character building? So
Yeah.
you read the script and then you as Mariana, who's been working for forever, what are some of the tools that you use to start
Yeah.
figuring it out?
And I say this honestly, like each character, I mean, I love this profession because it's such a mystery.
So
Like
different.
you have little formulas that can work, but mostly it's like a big enigma that you walk into and you have to figure it out. So what I do is I kind of like open myself to what's written. I start reading the storyline. I do a lot of notes on specific moments that I do notes on the arc of the character. I
Mhm.
start detecting what that arc is in the scenes or in the whole story of the character. And from that arc, I start analyzing scene by scene what goes on and just assimilating who that character is into my imagination and bringing it to life, imagining her and yeah, it's like a process of like, I guess, of building blocks little by little. It's a process. Yeah.
And then do you find it challenging at all since you are bilingual and you obviously do you ever find it any challenge like to flip between doing stuff in Spanish or coming back and doing things
Yeah,
in
it
English?
is a challenge. It is challenging. Yeah. And it was challenging in Stick because in Otto, it was like we filmed it less scenes, less dialogue. It was like more.
Film per specific arc.
Exactly.
Did they give you all scripts before you started Stick or did you get
They,
them one
they
at a
did. Let me remember. I guess no, I think we got batches. I think we
yeah.
started batches and yeah, I think that's how it worked, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it was very challenging because now you have to sustain it for more scenes. It's like many episodes and yeah, I was a bit like I hope I pull this off. But thankfully I did because it was just such an easy work environment. And really, really, Owen and Jason Keller, who's the creator and the showrunner and the writer of this show, were just so they did this, they created this atmosphere of, again, of ease, of concentration, but of ease. And so I never felt a pressure to deliver or that I was making it wrong or my lines. I never felt this pressure. On the contrary, everybody was so supporting with me because they knew it was my second language. So everybody was like telling me like, okay, they were giving me a break always because of this. And I was very grateful for that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of incredible, at least in A Man Called Otto. Like you're talking about rhythms, right? And switching between different languages
Yeah.
and trying, like British comedy is much different than American comedy. The rhythms are different, the cadence is different. Even what we find funny is just so different. So switching between and then being able to do that so effortlessly is just from what we see on screen. It is such a testament to your presence, your presence. And I think that's what Mark was talking about in your audition. Your presence. It's so visceral and so present that I think language is no longer the barrier. Your whole instrument is so activated and so available. So I just was
Great. Thank
curious.
you. Thank you for telling me that.
Yeah, no, I just was curious from a brain state, like, when I have to do an accent, sometimes that takes my rhythm off or just like trying to figure it, and it just takes more effort. But man, you're dynamic.
Oh, thank you, Alyshia. I take that to heart. Thank you. Thank you. Because you know how we are actors, like you never quite know. You never quite know if you hit the mark, if you didn't, if you did a good job, if you didn't. I mean, there's always this like element of uncertainty, even if you finish the job. But there's always, if you try to do it to your best, even if sometimes you fail, you're like, that was not that great. And this, there's always that element of like, it's not a perfection. You strive for exactness, but just that movement is so human. That's what makes it come alive.
100%. 100%. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stick is now out on Apple TV. Must watch. What's next? What is it that you want to do next? Because you just got to work with the two people that you said were like benchmarks.
Great. Yeah.
I think in this career, we always have to move the line just a little bit, right? I like to stay stretching to the next thing, to the next thing. What is the next thing that you want to do?
Honestly, I've always been very, as an actor, like very, when they ask me, I cannot see very much ahead of what I'm doing in the moment. I mean, I'm open. Wherever this leads me, I will go. Who
It's gonna
knows?
lead.
Who knows? Because every opportunity of a work opportunities spreads, opens up all these little roads that maybe are invisible in that moment, but they will be opened at a particular time. I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody in the production of Stick saw A Man Called Otto and they remembered me from there. And so there was something there when I auditioned. So you never know who's watching you. You never know where one thing's going to lead you. And I try to stay like open in the moment and just say, okay, so I'm gonna cherish what I have now. Like I really enjoyed my process with Tom. I think I marked it in my soul. I was like, I am gonna put this right here and it's gonna stay here because this was such a great experience. And with Stick is the same. I mean, I take with me every interaction that I had with the cast members, with Owen, who's such an inspiration. Having that is what I take away. And that, wherever it leads, I'm like open. So
I'm excited to see what's next. I'm
yeah,
really excited. Are you on social media? Can people follow along with you? What is
I
it?
am. I am in Instagram. It's called, wait, it's called Soym Trevino. Soym Trevino. Soy M Trevino. So that's my social media Instagram account. So if anyone wishes to follow,
Yes.
I'll
And
be happy
watch.
to. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Alyshia, this was so nice to talk to you. You're such an engaging person to talk to. I congratulate you on your podcast. Thank you for this chat.
Of
It's
course. Thank
so enlightening
you.
for me.
Thank you. I hope it was It's nice to do a walk through memory lane, isn't it? With like look at the
it
building
is.
blocks of what you've gotten to do. If you could go back, like, and tell the girl that's like on stage, you have no idea where all of these little bricks are gonna go. It's dynamic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyshia. Thank you, and I'll be seeing you again. I'll be seeing your podcast.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Come back anytime. Come back anytime.